So the end cover here, got a couple of screws that hold the trim on, and that big screw is the motor bracket screw that does the tension on the motor belt. So you can loosen it without removing this trim piece, but I don't know how to tension it easily without having this piece off to check the tension. So anyhow, the Handwheel has a soft trim piece in the center here. This is just some sort of soft cover. So I think I'm going to have to carefully figure out how to get that out. But first I'm going to get the belt off. Because I can see the screws to hold this bobbin winder in place loose and wiggling behind the hand wheel there. So we'll just get our motor belt off. This is looking good. Just snug that up. And now, alright, I'm gonna go for it on removing this soft cover to find our way into, oh yeah, there we go. Pops right off, and here we go. Well, I don't actually know what this is going to mean on our way in, so we'll have to see, and I'm going to, I don't know, try a few cleansers to see if I can clean up this plasticky cover without scouring it, but for now, let's dive into this hand wheel. And we got 2 screws here that loosened immediately. Here. And something is sprung behind this bracket because it's pushing gently out. Alright, settle us down. This set of clutch ears, I'm not sure what they're doing, but if we look, they're offset, so if I go to reinstall this and get it backwards, those 2 tabs aren't going to line up properly, so need to make sure that we get this facing the correct direction when we put it back in. And then I took it off when the counterweight was down, and this notch was up, so try to keep that remembered in order here. Now the hand wheel just slips off, and I'm gonna grasp behind it. Alright. Hand wheel is smooth on the inside, so I'm gonna move the camera and get some photos of this mechanism before I get busy cleaning it. And then I have access to these screws here to hold the bobbin winder in place, so I can tighten those. Alright, well, I'm glad I was doing this facing up, because see this roller bearing, which is the main part of this clutch? If the wheel had been flipped facing the other way, that roller bearing would have just slipped right out. So, this operates a lot like other early roller bearing clutches. This lever goes in and pushes this piece over, and then that roller bearing can drop down. I'll push this back. That roller bearing can drop down where it doesn't grip the hand wheel, and then when the lever is allowed to spring forward, it comes up the ramp and wedges between the hand wheel and the drive area here. So that's all clean and looking good, and then I've got access to tighten these screws here. And I see what happened. The spring here for this lever is popped up around this screw here, so when I put it on, I need to make sure that the spring is not clamped under the screw when I tighten it. And then this other side is also loose, so I just need to tighten both of these up, and then we'll be able to reassemble that. Tighten both of these screws, and as you can see, the bracket here is not moving anymore, and when I move the winder, it pulls the latch out of the way. When I engage the winder, it pushes the latch in and holds the machine from turning, and also then would drop that roller bearing down. So I'm going to grab the hand wheel and we'll get this reassembled. And then the motor, I did test it and it's a bit wheedly, so I'm going to loosen this bracket and just draw the motor out so I can clean and oil the bearings on the motor. Alright, time to reassemble this clutch. So I got the screws on the bracket here tightened up again. Rotated the machine so that this holder for the roller bearing is facing up. Then we got our roller bearing. We need to set it in so it's rolling. It only fits one way, so it drops in with the barrel shape facing the right way. And then the hand wheel has a big barrel, and if you rotate it clockwise while you're installing it, it will roll that roller bearing for the clutch down the little ramp and loosen it out of the way so this can slip on. And then, as you can see, when I turn the hand wheel forward, it holds now. Then we've got this washer with the uneven ears, and remember, it goes on behind this counterweight. The counterweight has a center piece to register in the hole, and then the two screws go in. And if you flip this washer the wrong way because the ears are uneven, it simply won't fit. And when I took this apart, the clutch was on top and the counterweight was on the bottom, so I put that back in facing the correct direction. I don't know if it matters, and if this machine is really horribly unbalanced when I try to sew with it, I may take this out and rotate it, because the tensioner was assembled incorrectly, so who knows if this got taken out and was assembled incorrectly. So I've engaged the bobbin winder and it rotated around to the spot where the lever lets that roller bearing fall out of the way, and now this spins. Move our winder out of the way and the clutch re-engages and turns the machine. Also, it's a one-way clutch, so see, when I turn backwards here, it doesn't always catch, so that's pretty nice. But I'll just put a tiny drop of oil in here, but you don't want to over oil these automatic clutches, because obviously if the oil gets in on that little bearing, it can cause it to slip instead of grip. So since this is functioning pretty well, I don't need to worry about oiling it too much. And then the last thing, I cleaned this plastic cover off with just some kitchen cleaner, and just pops into place.